All right, guys, we're live. Guys, as you can see tonight, we're on Tuesday night, not our normal Wednesday. Sorry about that. I'm going to be flying to Iowa tomorrow, and we found out that I'm going to land in Iowa a little bit later, so we're not going to be able to podcast tomorrow night. I'll be too busy trying to secure my car rental, which seems like in Des Moines takes forever, and then getting to the hotel. So anyhow, it'll be really late before I could go on. So I decided to give the guys a break and not do that because I'll be tired.
Good Lord. I'm reading the message that you sent me. It's the
Which one?
one before about your show Sunday night.
Oh,
That's just
oh,
silly.
oh, yeah, yeah. We won't discuss that right now.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Did
Let's talk a
you
little.
let everybody
But
know? Did you let everybody know on our pages that you were doing it tonight at 6?
no, they usually find us because they all get notices. So
Okay. Okay.
I hope they get notices. I mean, usually they're waiting for us. They're usually lined up waiting.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, if I learn my lesson tonight, dang it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So Purdue is 2-3, 1-1 in the conference. They allowed 29.6 points a game, so that should bode well for Iowa, I would think. 398.2 yards a game is what they give up. They give up 40.8 yards passing a game, which should bode well for Deacon if Deacon's wide receivers can catch. We'll find out. They do have 22 first downs per game. 16 sacks overall, third most in the conference. They're getting an average. Wait a minute, I must have read that wrong. Okay, well, anyway, one of the schools gets 22 first downs, and the other one gets 23 first downs a game. I don't think Iowa is like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Casey.
Casey, we
Yep.
saw that. We're going to talk about it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, and they're 3 for 11 on fourth downs, and they commit 6 penalties a game. Here's an interesting stat I thought. Okay, they have been outscored in the first quarter, 31-23. Second quarter, 58-41. Fourth quarter, 45-27. But they have outscored their opponents 44-14 in the third quarter. So in a close game, low-scoring game, that would benefit Purdue, I would think.
Well, that's the reason that's happening is because they're always losing in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
That's why.
All right.
That's a huge reason. A part of it is they're always losing in the fourth quarter, and they're just coming back, and the other team is playing prevent. Trying to work the clock, stuff like that. So that's a huge part of why Purdue. But Purdue's getting better every week as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
and their defense is really getting better every week. I mean, they just shut down Illinois big time. Not to mention, like Illinois just is awful. Illinois is just awful, but they had turnovers. Like Purdue's offense didn't do that great. They didn't have like a huge day or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense just shut down Purdue or Illinois. I believe they even caused a fumble and recovered that in the end zone. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want to say there was 4 turnovers by Illinois. So Iowa just has to take care of the ball for sure.
Right. Well, speaking of which, Iowa's had 4 fumbles and we've lost 2 of them. I think, or did we? Yeah. Yeah. No, we've had 10 fumbles and we've lost 5 of them. We've forced 4 fumbles and got 2 of them. And Purdue has lost 5 fumbles, forced 5 fumbles, and got one. So neither school doing a very good job of claiming that ball once they get it out on the ground, trying to get it. Iowa has the second fewest points in the league right now. Not points, but penalties. We got 15 penalties on the season. That's the second fewest. I don't know who's the first, but Iowa's obviously playing a clean game, even though we're not doing much with it. Speaking of which, Tyrone Tracy is their leading rusher. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
He
But he only has 288 yards this
He
year.
had 100 yards last week. Illinois made Tyrone Tracy look like Bo Jackson on a few plays. But that's what Iowa wanted Tyrone Tracy to be. He wanted to be a receiver, which is why he went to Purdue. Well, the new coaching staff Purdue said you're going to have to be a running back or you probably won't see the field very much.
Right.
So, and he's not even the starting running back, but the more he's getting, he's proven that he should be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's getting 6.3 yards a carry. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
He's got 5 touchdowns and he's got 1 kickoff return for a touchdown. So it sounds like they must be using him on kickoffs.
Yeah, they're using him a lot as far as the kickoff return game and at running back. Now, the more the season goes, they're using him more and more. So, I mean, he's a really good player. He's a really good running back. He just, at Iowa, he didn't want to play running back. So,
right.
He thought of himself as a receiver, but he's not a receiver.
I think he proved at both schools that he's not a receiver.
Yeah, he proved last year that he just dropped all the balls just like he did at Iowa. So
right. Okay, Devin McAbee, who I guess I'm going to think is the starting running back.
He's supposed to be, but as the year goes, well, he's having fumbling issues as well. But yeah, they call him Crazy Legs. He runs really funny, but he's been fumbling for whatever reason this year. So they've been using actually Tracy more than Crazy Legs.
Okay. Yeah, and he has 283 yards for a 4.2 average and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he started the season. Yep.
Yeah. Hudson Card seems to be carrying the offense, though.
Well, he's a runner and a thrower, and he's not really that good of a player.
Yeah. He has 1,244 yards of passing, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he has 3 rushing touchdowns. So that says what you said there, too, that he likes to rush.
I believe he only has 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah. They listed 5 here in the thing I went.
Okay, so 5. So both Iowa and Purdue have 5 passing touchdowns.
So his passing percentage is 63.8%, so he's almost at 64 compared to Deacon, but Deacon doesn't have much under his belt at 42.9% and 1 touchdown and 1 interception
with 8 drops. So
we know if the 8 drops get back on the board, he'd probably be over 60% too.
Oh yeah, he was hitting the receivers in the hands, so we know he's accurate.
Yeah,
he was also just amped up to be out there.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Deacon because you weren't on the show the other night and we didn't say a whole lot about him. But what have you seen from Deacon that will give you hope that we can still keep our 10 or 11 win record intact?
The way he can read a defense, the way he can look from his first read to his second read. Okay. You could tell he's a quarterback mentally, right? He has a cannon. What I'm really excited to find out is how he throws the deep ball, because the one deep ball he threw last week was to Seth Anderson, and it was on a rope, right? So, and he was double covered. He threw into double coverage, and the ball just wasn't close. So, I want to see him throw with some touch because he's going to have to be able to get it over defenders into zone coverage.
Right.
But I'm really interested to see how he changes that. His fastballs, though, it was against man coverage. Purdue plays a lot of man coverage. They usually send 5 or 6, so they're going to be blitzing. That's how they get their sacks. They're going to be getting some sacks. Iowa's offensive line is going to have to keep blocking like they have been, and he can read a defense. Like Hill is. And we found out today his whole family is athletic. They've been in Olympics. They're water polo. It's a water polo family.
Hmm.
So
I
yeah,
bet. I bet
you could
Nolan
see.
likes that.
Oh, probably.
Nolan used to play water polo in college.
No, I know.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Hill just looks like a quarterback.
Hmm.
Not physically, because he looks like, if you remember, the hefty lefty from Kentucky who would eat a large pizza every night after a game.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna be honest, but
Okay. Well, he passed because of his eating habits.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he played for the Giants. They
he was
could
pretty
barely
heavy.
they could barely find a helmet to fit his head. He was like 300 some pounds, but he had a cannon.
Oh,
But he was a great college quarterback and played in the NFL for a while. So
hmm.
Hill just he's gonna be tough to sack. He looks like a quarterback in his brain, which is my big
Hmm.
thing I look for right away is how he's reacting to the coverage, and he looked good.
Hmm. Yeah.
He was
So
looking off from one receiver, going to a second read. I mean, his
yeah.
third read, it looked good.
Okay. Well, somebody this morning commented on Facebook that reminds him of Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know about that yet, but maybe just size wise. What do you think?
I mean, size wise, yeah. I mean, he reminds me of Nate Stanley, that type.
Hmm.
Like Nate was, I believe, 240 pounds as well, but Deacon's 250. Roethlisberger was 250. So maybe that's what they're going off of.
Hmm.
But he's got a lot to prove to be compared to anybody. But size wise, physically, yes. He
Hmm.
looks like Big Ben. He looks like Nate. He just looks like the quarterbacks, the big quarterbacks. Now we just got to see him tone it down a bit so his receivers can catch it. So I mean, he had some learning to do, but apparently they weren't dropping the ball as often in practice and all that. It
Hmm.
was just something that just happened in that game.
Yeah.
So
Let's just kind of hope that that was an anomaly.
right,
Do you feel like that the wide receivers can come around and catch those balls and not drop so many?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the way they're talking that it didn't happen in practice like that. I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't. So, like I said, maybe he was just amped up and he just was throwing too hard.
Could
Like
be.
he was just in the moment, being on the field. Adrenaline was flowing, so maybe that 80-mile-an-hour fastball turned into a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So just because he was amped up, but
Yeah.
apparently the receivers usually catch his balls, so it wasn't a normal thing. So I guess we'll find out this week with Brian having full control of the offense. We're going to see more like what we saw last week.
Okay. All right. So
Jared Lorenzen, yeah, Jared Lorenzen.
I figured that's quarterback you were talking about,
It
right?
is. It's
Okay.
yeah. He's the hefty lefty. Yep.
All right. What about our running game? Is there any hope for our running game to really get off the ground?
Yeah. Complete passes. We
Okay.
have to. We have to complete those passes and get them out of the 8 and 9 man box.
Right.
I mean,
So.
it was clearly in the very beginning. You could see what Michigan State's game plan was
Mhm.
and how they were not expecting Brian to come out into shotgun, 5 wide, empty sets
Mhm.
as often as they did. They loaded the box. So
Yeah.
every time a running back was in the backfield, they would load the box. That's why the play action passes were wide open. They just have to complete those passes to make the defense say, okay, well,
Right.
this ain't going to work. They're
Yeah.
going to just
So.
keep loading the box. It's not on the offensive line most of the time because most of the time there's too many people in the box to even block.
Right.
So you
No,
have
and
to
I agree
complete
with
some
I
passes.
agree with you there. I mean, that's obvious. You can see that on the TV when you're watching it. Um, yeah. So I honestly, when Deacon was in the game, I thought the O line did okay. I mean, they weren't breaking up any holes for the running backs, but you
Well,
know,
because we weren't completing passes.
right. So the completing
Everything goes
passes,
together. Everything goes together.
yeah, completing passes will open up the run game for sure because then
Yeah.
they got to start putting some people back.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Other couple things I was gonna go over. Let's talk about a little bit. Let's just take a little bit quick detour about Cade. As already noted, he's already officially decided to come back.
I'll put a
next year.
caveat on that though,
Okay.
because I don't think that's true. And now that's what they're going to say right now, right? Because it just
Hmm.
happened. But if Hill takes over, like it's a possibility. We don't know how Hill's going to react to this. Like I
Right.
said, he's a quarterback.
Hmm.
He legit is. He can read a defense. He's throwing to the right guy. So he is actually a quarterback. And, so is Cade. I'm not saying Cade's not. That doesn't make sense. Cade is also a quarterback. So don't take it, run with it the other way. What I'm
Right.
saying is if Hill takes this team and leads them to 10-2, 11-1, competes or even wins the Big Ten championship, then I don't see Cade coming back and being the backup. Right?
Okay.
Well, they're
Okay.
going to say he's coming back right now, but if Hill takes this job and runs with it,
Hmm.
I just don't see. I see a similar situation to what we saw in 2015. After 2014 with Jake Ruddock, he ended up just leaving because they were going to name CJ the starter.
Right.
We see a similar situation to where McInerney goes somewhere and tries to show that he's ready for the NFL as well.
Hmm.
If Hill, because they're not going to not make Hill the starter if Hill
Right.
does all
If he
that.
has a good season.
Yeah,
Well, and I can understand that because let's face it, the guy's not going to be ready for spring ball. And it's just going to go exactly like last year's.
true, Mike. True.
Oh
That'd be
my
a
God.
that'd be a
Oh,
big statue, Mike. That'd be a big statue.
right. Overpower our little Niall Kennick statue at the entrance, wouldn't it? They said the
Right.
guy's 6'4". That's pretty
He's 6'3", 260.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so Nick DeYoung is going to be out for 2 weeks, according to Logan Jones. However, Kirk Ferentz was a little more coy in his press
Yeah.
conference today, saying, "We will see."
He always is.
I know it.
Right? We don't
I'm
listen
going
to
to believe
Kirk.
Logan Jones on this one.
Yes, because he talks to him, he knows,
Hmm.
and Kirk's not going to tell us a damn thing.
Right. And I guess Colby's hurt too.
Well, yeah, he got hurt against Penn State.
Okay.
He'll play. Like
He'll play. Okay.
he was ready. He came in. He's the one that came in for Nick
Right.
last week.
Right. I knew
So
that.
he
Okay.
got hurt against Penn State. He wasn't going to play at all until Nick got hurt.
Yeah. Okay. Caleb Johnson is not listed on the depth chart at all, but he was back at practice today, according to Lushan or Lishan. How do you say his name? Lishan?
Listen, I call it LaShawn.
Lishan Williams. Okay. And he said he looks like Caleb, which,
I mean,
I would think that he's probably back at practice this week, but we won't see him till next week.
I
Just,
don't think I told you his situation. I'm not going to say it here, but
okay.
I'm not sure if I let you guys know.
You have not.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm with the rest of the world thinking it's a high ankle sprain.
it's well, like I said, I'll just let you know. I'm not going to talk about it on the
Okay.
podcast, but there is some other things going on. Whether he plays, we'll see. Whether he's happy, we'll see. Um, yeah, I'm not going to go any further on that. He might play, he might not.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you after the show.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been a big push to get Cooper a package of plays on offense. What do you think about that?
I only like it if they do trick plays with him. I don't want him being Travis Hunter. Look where Travis Hunter's at. He's out. He's hurt.
That's the one with Colorado, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want if he gets hurt, how does that affect the whole team?
Affects a lot.
I mean, if you have some trick plays for him, let him throw it. Maybe do a reverse pass to him and let him throw it, or just do reverses to him, let him run it a little bit. Maybe even have some wide receiver screens with him or something. Because he has instincts to play both ways, but you have to think about the team, right? Yeah. Would it be great to have him play both ways, be a wide receiver? He probably doesn't drop those balls that the receivers were dropping. I'm just going to say, like, he has way too good of hands. But to have him play, like against Penn State, he played 100 plays. If he was playing offense too, that would have been 130
Mhm.
plays or whatever. So I don't think it's good on the body to play that much. I think it's easier to get hurt. He is bigger than Travis Hunter. I'll give him that. But he got hurt last year playing just defense. So I mean, I don't like unless they have design plays for him, or even let him be a decoy. Design plays that go somewhere else but make the defense think this is probably going to Cooper, right?
Mhm.
So stuff like that, but not every day or every down or even every 4 wide receiver set. Um, I don't I don't want to see it like that because I want him healthy to play defense.
Okay.
Because
All
I
right.
think without Cooper, the defense is going to go, I mean, way downhill, and Iowa can't afford that.
I think we saw that when we against Nebraska.
I mean, he literally is like Deion Sanders on one side of the field. If you throw it his way, there's a chance it could get picked.
Mhm.
There was a few games where he played, 7 yards off, like the Penn State game, but that's not on Cooper. That's the scheme, right?
Right.
Last week he didn't do that. They let him play up. I'm like I said, I just think they were afraid of Penn State.
Mhm.
So because last week's scheme was not the same.
Right. Did you guys notice though at the end of the game when we went into victory formation that Cooper was on the field for the victory formation?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's a good person because if there's a fumble, he's got good hands that could get that ball, right?
Right.
Like see, that's a good spot for him as well. Like having your best hands in that situation, it makes sense in case the quarterback fumbles.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot more tonight for the show unless you got some other things you want to add. But
Um, are you doing the picks tonight?
I am doing the picks, but I
Okay,
wanted to get
we're
the
just
other
talking
stuff out
about
of the way first.
So, do you want? Are we doing? This is the night we pick the score of the Purdue game, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
would you like
all
to?
I have
I'm going to
left
give
is
you
to
first
talk
pick on
about
that.
the.
Huh?
I mean, the only thing I would want is to talk about the Purdue game and what I believe. Like I said, I'm excited. I do have Iowa winning 20-14 this week,
Okay.
but I think it could Iowa could score more. It's up to how Deacon responds and the receivers respond, and if Brian continues to do what he wants to do, right?
Mhm.
Which I think he's going to because this is his last opportunity. Like I said, he won the argument over Kirk last week. It sounds like inside the locker room, everybody knows this is Brian's offense. So now it is. So get ready for more spread and
Mhm.
empty sets. Get ready for more passing, which is it's going to be fun. But the receivers are going to have to step up
Yeah.
and because be honest, if Deacon could play the same way he played last week, and the receivers catch those balls, I mean it's a blowaway. It's a victory by a mile. He
Correct.
throws for a ton of yards. I believe PFF had his adjusted completion percentage at 70%. So that tells me PFF counted more drops than ESPN did.
Oh,
Because
okay.
ESPN only had 6. I had
Right.
8. I don't know how many PFF had, but their adjusted completion percentage for him was 70. So I don't know how many drops they actually ended at. It's whatever
So the
70%.
adjusted completion. That's if they put the drops back in their hands if they had caught those. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Um, I think Luke O'Shea comes back regardless of Cade, unless he's able to go full speed at the combine. If he's not able to go full speed at the combine, he's coming back regardless of Cade. But if he is, uh, yeah, Mike, that sounds about right. I'm not gonna lie. And that's the I can picture 6 drops in my head, and I know there was more than what I can remember.
Right.
So, and I had 8 on game day live with you guys. So I don't know how many somebody will have to divide the 70% of 27 passes and find out how many PFF had for drops. But so this week I could be lowballing the offense this week simply because Purdue's going to send the house. They're going to blitz, so it's going to be man to man. There's going to be times where, just like last week, I think Hill's going to have some opportunities. He's going to have to take some off the ball, which I think he probably will. Like I said, I just think he was way too amped up because that's not his normal power, they say, because the receivers didn't drop his balls like that in practice or anything.
Yeah, I seem to remember a couple of years ago when Padilla came in the game. He at first was throwing some really rockets, and it's probably because he was amped up, and when he played that 3 or 4 games in a row.
I don't. Would you say? I'm sorry, I was reading South.
No, that's fine. That's no big deal. They heard me.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a question or nothing.
No.
I treated you like the wife there for a second, where I had no
block me out. No, that's fine. South Bend wrote a lot there. I could see that.
Yeah. No. I don't know if KF signed. I don't know how. KF gives a lot of responsibility to the position coaches in the recruiting. So, I mean, that is that. KF didn't find the receivers, but so anyway, but KF is the man in charge regardless. And he's letting the offense go, right? So we're going to see some offense now. Now, during in the fourth quarter, if I was up by 10 points, are we going to revert like we did? Did you see the offensive line, though, in the fourth quarter against Michigan State? How many times do you remember Iowa running it 3 times and getting a first down and keeping the clock going, right? Mm-hmm. They did it last week. In the fourth quarter, Iowa had a 7-point lead. They did what they do. They ran the football, but they were getting first downs before they got a field goal, and it ended up being like 4th and 1. So, Are you talking about Alex Padilla? Hill has 10 times more. Is he? Hey, Mike, are you talking about Alex Padilla? Yeah, Hill.
He is. Yes, because I brought him up.
So I did. Is that when I was ignoring you? You brought up Alex Padilla. Yeah, Mike, you're 100%. I didn't realize that was a question. Yeah, no, Hill is 10 times better than Alex. Alex transferred to SMU, and guess where he's at? On the bench. So
it's like Kirk says. He says a lot. He's seen a lot of people transfer out, and for most of them, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. Yeah, no. The only one
he said a few of them have worked out, and he's happy for them. But he said it turns out that the grass is not greener, and most of them it hasn't worked out, and they were better off staying put.
The interesting part, though, the ones that did work out, besides Charlie Jones, are the defensive players. Like, I'm having a brain fart on them, but there's a lot of defensive players who transferred out. One of them from Kansas State last year started out at Iowa, transferred to Kansas State, but he wasn't good enough to make the defense at Iowa. He goes to Kansas State, and he's still an NFL product. But Iowa has been flooded with NFL talent on defense lately. So, but those are the ones that are excelling. The ones on offense that have been transferring, KJ, Keegan Johnson, he's just a normal player. He's caught 6 balls on the season in 5 games. We know about Bruce.
Yeah. He's not even playing.
Charlie, yeah, he transferred with his best friend. So he got 144 targets. Yes. So that's not even – now Tyrone Tracy, who is doing what Iowa coaches told him to do, move the running back. So I think the Iowa coaches know what they're talking about. So just let people – Brents. Yes, Brents is his name. Julius Brents, right? Yeah. So, he's in the NFL with the Colts. There's a lot of NFL talent on defense. And the offensive ones who think that pasture's greener, it isn't.
Yeah. I don't even know why Brents left in the first place, because they were trying to build the defense around him.
No, he got beat out.
He got beat out? I thought
they let him play.
Oh, it's the guy who went to Oregon who they were planning on building the defense around.
Yeah, but I think
Justin Jacobs.
Yeah, and he got hurt again. So
Is he hurt again? So
Yeah.
he's not playing
No, he's not even playing for
right now? Oh, shoot.
him. And neither
That's too
is
bad, really, because I really like the guy, even though he left us.
so I don't yeah, I feel like this Purdue game, it's going to be a show for Hill. We're going to see it. We're going to find out, and I'm excited to find out. I'm excited to find out what BF actually runs now that he has full responsibility. Like the game planning on offense now is Brian's game planning.
Mhm.
So, and it was last week. It started last week. Like I told everybody the week before that game, there was a lot of like it was. I was ready for KF to go. Right.
Mhm.
If KF retired after last week, I wouldn't have been just because he's being too bullish and letting his son just get beat up when it's not even his son's offense.
Mhm.
So yeah, but now Brian won. He won out last week. If they do it this week, which I feel like I'm hearing it's all good to go. The
Mhm.
offense is excited. The receivers are excited.
Mhm. Well,
Hill's excited.
yeah, I thought our offense once Deacon came in and they opened up the playbook a little more. I wasn't unhappy with what they were doing. Like you said, the drop passes made a huge difference in that passing game, but the rollouts, the things they were doing, the the 4th and 1 sneak was put back in, you
Yeah, well,
know.
that's going to be in for sure because we
Yeah.
got our Nate Stanley sneak back.
Yeah.
Average 5 yards on a quarterback sneak. So, and Deacon did say he loves running the quarterback sneak. So yeah, but I just feel the defense. I believe Purdue's going to make some mistakes. They're not going to be as
Mhm.
patient as what Penn State was. We found out about Michigan State. Had they stayed patient, what could they have done to Iowa's defense? Right?
Mhm.
Well, think about it. They went all the way down the field, dinking, dunking, running the ball, and then they throw it deep to Cooper.
Mhm.
They were almost in the red zone. All of a sudden, they throw it deep to Cooper. I
Yeah,
mean, it was
almost like it was intended for Cooper.
right. So, I mean, like I said, these offensive coordinators, um, and Mike Leach was one of them. That I actually learned the opposite of what Mike Leach would do. Um, they just wanted to just throw the ball all over the yard, not taking the numbers, and running. Mike Leach actually started to do that his last year with Mississippi State. Is they were running the ball quite a bit for
Mhm.
him. Like he was in the SEC, he learned that if you have numbers, you have to run the football. If they're dropping 8 in coverage, you cannot throw it when there's speed
Mhm.
everywhere.
Right.
So Michigan State, all these teams aren't. I thought, well, it was you that actually said that Penn State kind of showed what you could do against Iowa. Well, Michigan State did it like half the time, but you have to do it the whole game. You know how you run 97 plays on offense in one game? Just keep dinking and dunking. Have 15 play drives, 17 play drives.
Yeah. Well, that's like taking a page out of Iowa's book because that's always been our forte. Long, drawn out drives that chew up clock. And
Well,
well,
I think BF will let it go, Jared. To your question, I think it could be a blowout. Like I said, I do have 20-14 type score. But if Iowa is scoring and they have more than a touchdown lead or 10 points, if they have a bigger than a 10-point lead, KF might let them just keep scoring, right? It sounds like he's changing his ways on that, possibly because he's tired of Brian yelling at him,
yeah.
right? They were going back and forth. So,
South Bend, I don't remember the 2014 game in the trouncing. Um, I don't. I'm sorry, I can't remember it in my mind. I do know that BF called the Northwestern game when we were up 17-0 and threw the ball 55 times. When normally we go into our conservative mode.
what South Bend, what BF was the running game coordinator. So he started getting it to where Iowa's running game was extremely good. In 2016, they had 2 running backs go over 1,000. I mean, that is the stuff that BF did. I can't say factual as far as if he called the plays that day, but I could say he called the plays when they destroyed Ohio State, right? So he called the plays when they destroyed USC. Those are the kind of games that KF just lets the offense go.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't get it. I thought South Bend was using the word system because Iowa has a system, but apparently system is you.
No, I know. I'm just ignoring him on that. That's fine. Let him do that. I know exactly what he means by that. It's between him and I.
Yeah. I
So,
do remember when Mike, I do remember that he did hold the title. I've forgotten that he was in charge of the running game back
yeah,
then.
he held the title of running game coordinator. Yeah,
Yeah.
he earned his way into the OC position. As an offensive line coach, they won the Joe Moore Award, right? Then they
Mhm.
made him running game coordinator, and the running game just picked up. In 2015, the running game was huge. In 2016, he had 2 running backs go over 1,000 yards. He did more to earn his OC job than most OCs. So, like, he literally worked his way up the ladder. Everything he touched turned to gold. He was a tight ends coach. The tight ends turned to gold. He recruited
Mhm.
the tight ends that you know in the NFL right now. He didn't. I don't know if he recruited Lachey. I can't really remember because he was. No, he might have recruited. Lachey might have been his last tight ends that he recruited. Um, the last one of the tight ends that he recruited.
Okay.
So
All right. I'm going to give my prediction on the Iowa game. And I have them winning 27-26, which is I've been going for the low score lately. I don't know, for some reason I think we win in what quote could be a shootout for Iowa.
I pray Purdue don't put 26 points on Iowa
Mhm.
in that close of a game. But no, 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 no. What the KF doesn't call the plays, what he does do is take over and say, no, we're going to run the football here. No, okay, I'll just take you back to 2020 during the you guys will have to be with me on this, and just if I'm wrong in the game, then I'm wrong. But I know I don't remember if it was 2020 or 2021, but it was 2021 where Iowa called back-to-back fullback dives against Wisconsin. Iowa called back-to-back quarterback sneaks against Purdue. Now, my point here is in those games, if you go back and watch it when they did this, both those plays came out of a timeout. Kirk did not trust the play call on the 4th down that Brian had, so he calls timeout and he makes him do another fullback dive. Same thing on the quarterback sneak against, I think it was Purdue. So he did the exact same thing. He called timeout because he didn't like the play that was called that Brian called on 4th and 1. So they did the quarterback sneak. Then what happened both times? Both times it got stuffed after the timeout, and everybody blamed Brian. That's the kind of stuff KF does. He doesn't call plays. He doesn't ever want to be a play caller. He's never been a play caller. What he is a strategist, if I'm saying that word right. Strategist, whatever. You guys can pick on me for that word. But he decides like what strategy is going to be used, right? He's not going to tell Brian what exact play to be called, but he's going to say, I want you to run the ball up the middle here. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. We're up by 10. I mean, not Brian. Think about this in 2021, guys. Against Minnesota, at Minnesota, KF told Padilla to not score a touchdown. Remember that? They had 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line, and KF told Padilla, and Padilla admitted this in his presser, that he was told not to score. So they just ran the ball, and they did a quarterback sneak, and he fell down. And then on 3rd down, they tried to score, and they didn't score. So they kicked the field goal to go up, I think, 5. You guys will have to refresh my memory on the actual score.
Can you tell me why he said he was told not to score a touchdown?
Because KF wanted to run the clock. He didn't want a touchdown. He wanted to run the clock.
Okay.
Because then they kick a field goal, and I think they went up by 5 or 6. And then, well, it worked out, right? And with KF's strategy, he's 66. Well, 66. 67. He's 67-2 with his strategy. So his strategy wins, but that's the fourth quarter strategy of his that I don't know if he'll let go.
Yeah.
But as far as the game planning and not be so conservative, KF has let go the rest of the year.
Well, he did take the 4th and 1 that the other night out of Brian's hands and decided to kick the field goal, which
No.
I'm glad he did. I thought all along you should, in case
That-
something went screwy, you should have kicked the field goal to tie the game up. That was important points.
Yeah, that's not calling a play. That's just a head coach being a head coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fourth down is the head coach decides if you go for it or not. That's just not that's not a play.
All right.
Play call. It's just on 4th down. The every head coach in the country is like, okay, kick it or okay, punt, right?
Right.
It's not. That's not. That one.
Well, with Hudson Card throwing the ball so much, and he does have 3 interceptions this year, maybe we can get another couple of picks. I mean, they don't have to be pick sixes in my book, but I'll take pick sixes. But but I think some of that was because I thought we finally started getting a little bit of a rush on the quarterback against Michigan State, which in the previous 4 games I didn't think we did.
Well, he was holding the ball longer, right?
Was it? That's right, because that's right. I keep forgetting the other guys got the ball out of there within seconds.
Yeah, we didn't get any pressure on him in the beginning when they were doing the nickel and diming stuff. Right? It's when they got dumb, the coaches is like, this is boring. So they start going deep and throwing picks.
Yeah.
Well, I liked it. If I was the head coach, I would have done the same thing, just for a simple fact that you have to tie the game there, right?
Right. Yeah.
If the quarterback even if he gets the first down, what if there's a turnover later in that?
Right. And there's no guarantee there was going to be a touchdown.
Yeah, there was no guarantees of it. If it was from the 1 yard line, then I probably would go for it. Because with our defense and they're inside the 1, if you didn't get it, the defense could possibly get it. But no, not in that situation. They won't. Parker's new scheme is they're going to play cover 2 man under. So they're going to have 2 men deep and they're going to play tight on the receivers for Purdue. They don't have anybody that could. That's what he did last year. Is he going to do it in the beginning? Probably not, because we don't exactly know. Purdue's not throwing the football. They only have 5 touchdown passes. They're running the run and shoot with Graham Harrell. So, but they're not. They only have 5 touchdown passes all year. But if they start doing that, I think he'll go to that, because they do not have receivers that can beat Iowa players in man-to-man. And if Purdue is running the football all over us, then he's going to change up too. I think Iowa wins the West and Wisconsin's right behind him. I think the winner of the West. Well, let me just change that real quick, because I need to see how Rutgers plays against Wisconsin. If they struggle, Wisconsin struggles with Rutgers, because Wisconsin's still an unknown, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they smacked Purdue around, but it was a close game. Wisconsin's only has 2 touchdown passes all year, and we're trying to make fun of Iowa. It's crazy. Iowa has 5 touchdown passes to Wisconsin's 2, and Wisconsin runs the air raid. So they've had their moments. They had their moments against Buffalo when they ran for 400 yards or something. They had that 90-yard touchdown run. But against Washington State, they got completely shut down. So, yeah, the West is just weird because we have all these new coaches. But talent-wise, I see it's between Iowa and Wisconsin.
I'm thinking a little bit different right now. Right now, I think it's Wisconsin's to lose, and we'll know that in 2 weeks. However, my gut feeling tells me that we're going to have more games like Michigan State than not the rest of the year. You know, Northwestern proves that you can't overlook them. Purdue has proved you can't overlook them. Minnesota is just not look like Minnesota, and Minnesota finishing third. Interesting, Jared. Interesting. Especially since they're not playing well right now.
Yeah, Rutgers, they've played all their easy games. They're 4-1. They look good in those games. So I'm interested to see how they play. I don't think Wisconsin's very good. So that game has me really intrigued. I don't think Wisconsin could finish third, in my opinion, in the West. They just don't look good to me. So I have to see what they do against good teams. Wisconsin has beat bad teams. So I'm not sure what you meant by the Michigan State because we don't know how good Michigan State is. They've won. They're 2-3. They've won every game they were supposed to. They lost the games they weren't. Iowa State, same thing. They're 2-3. Like Iowa's strength of schedule, a strength of record is going up. Like they're up to 39th now. So every week their strength because Utah State's 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
So Whiskey. I mean, the only good team they've played is Washington State, and they got spanked.
Right.
So,
yeah, and Wisconsin's schedules is fairly easy, like Iowa. I believe the only other team that they play that's really they play Ohio State, right? Wisconsin.
I don't know what their schedule is.
They play one of those three, and I'm pretty sure it's Wisconsin. But it's just like Iowa. It's basically a fairly simple schedule. Every team is beatable, but this is what I'm going to say about Iowa. Right now, I feel unless Deacon makes me feel different about things and the receivers start catching passes, right now I feel there isn't a game on this schedule that Iowa can't win, but there isn't a game on this schedule that Iowa can't lose either.
Well, that's right. They're going to be favored in every game except Wisconsin.
Right.
So, I mean, Iowa's going to be favored in every one of their games the rest of the year except Wisconsin.
But I think they can lose any of those games too.
No, right, and they can. There's not a game that they can't lose because it turns out these teams are better than what we thought.
Right.
Like Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how Rutgers beats Iowa, but we'll see.
Right. The nice thing, Rutgers. I'm concerned about Rutgers, but also they're not going to be a factor in the East race because they've got, like I said, they've got at least 3 losses coming on that side of that side coming up because they have to play all 3 of the powerhouses over there, plus Maryland. Or have they already played Maryland?
Who?
Rutgers.
No, Rutgers. Their only loss is to Michigan.
Okay, so I'm going to imagine that they lose to Ohio State, that they're going to lose to Penn State, and possibly Maryland. It just depends on where the game is at. I would suspect that they should lose to Iowa, but okay. South Bend.
Rutgers' schedule has been so easy up to this point, except Michigan. The only game Rutgers has played with the pulse because they played the first game against Northwestern, and Northwestern wasn't ready to play quite yet. But then they played Temple, they played Virginia Tech, Wagner. I mean, so no, I think the top 3. I mean, I could see. I don't want to, put everything on Wisconsin just because I haven't seen them play anybody very good because they've even struggled in games. They beat Purdue pretty good, and that's the only game that they played that was. And they can't get their offense going. They can't get the air raid going. If you take out their games against Buffalo and all the easy teams, their offense isn't much better than Iowa's.
So we should probably do our picks real quick because we're 5 minutes away from your deadline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you get me whooped by the wife.
I don't want to get you whooped. All right, I want you to pick Nebraska at Illinois.
Wisconsin does play Ohio State. Nebraska, Illinois.
Yeah.
I got to go with Nebraska. But I don't understand how Illinois is favored, but
Yeah. I'm actually taking Illinois because they're at home, and I still think they're a decent enough team that they'll get their act together.
I hope you're right because I would love to see Nebraska lose another one. That would be
Me too.
hilarious.
Me too.
That would be
Okay.
hilarious.
All right. Maryland at Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah, I took that too. Rutgers at Wisconsin.
I'm going to go Wisconsin. And
I also took Wisconsin. Michigan at Minnesota.
Michigan.
Yeah, I took Michigan too. Some of these were no-brainers. Here's one though for you. Might give you a little thought. Oklahoma at Texas, or versus Texas. I don't think that game is played at either one of their places.
No, it's at the Cotton Bowl.
No.
Gosh, this year, I mean, Texas. I'm going to go with Texas and root for Oklahoma
Yeah,
because
I also took Texas.
I dislike Texas so bad, but you know they beat me in the Alabama game, so I'll take them this time and just root against them.
There you go. All right, now I got 3 NFL games because somebody asked me to pick some NFL games. This was hard because a lot of it was not very good games, I thought. But Packers at Raiders.
I don't think PSU wins the East, Jared. What'd you say?
I do think PSU wins the East, but that's fine. Packers at Raiders.
Oh, Raiders.
Okay, I took the Packers. Cowboys at Niners.
Oh, Niners.
I also took the Niners. Okay, Panthers at the Lions.
Lions.
Okay, I also took the Lions. We're dead even all the way down except for the Nebraska-Illinois game. Okay.
Interesting. No, I don't think Penn State wins the East just because they can't run the football. I think Michigan wins the East. I just don't see how anybody beats Michigan. Not even Ohio State.
Okay.
Michigan just is. If you stop their run, they're going to pick you apart. Yeah, Michigan just does everything well. This could be the year where they win a playoff game. I'm not. I mean, Michigan is just. And I think Penn State's quarterback is young, and in that game will probably make some mistakes. They're not going to be able to just pick Michigan's defense apart like they did Iowa's. So, yeah. I hope I'm wrong because it'd be good to see Penn State win the East and have a rematch with Iowa. That would be fun.
Yeah, I kind of want the rematch because honestly,
do.
inside of a dome under dry conditions, I think
Yeah.
I'm not saying we win the game. I'm just saying we're going to give them a better game.
Oh,
And,
100%. I mean, look how many times Iowa turned the ball over and it was still only 31-0.
Right.
So, I mean,
and I believe Iowa would go in with all the momentum in that game, you know, saying, "Hey, that wasn't us last time." But I want the rematch, but I don't know how many people want it. Okay.
I do.
Want to answer the Colorado question real quick, and then we can get out of here.
I mean, 8-4 is possible. Their offense is hype. It's no different than USC. USC is the exact same way. Their offense, there's a lot of hype, but neither team can play defense. So, but Colorado got to play USC's defense. We all saw what happened when Colorado played Oregon's defense, right? USC just doesn't play defense. I mean, I could see 8-4, but they got to get healthy. Shiloh's out. I mean, without Shiloh on the defense, without Travis Hunter on the defense, that's not a defense at Colorado at all. That means you can run and throw all day. They have no depth at Colorado. All their players behind the starters are guys that should be on some other small programs, even some of them on like University of Northern Iowa. They legit don't have any good talent behind the starters. So there's my take on that. But all righty.
All right, guys. We have to get out of here because Jason has to give up the computer to his wife. And I've already heard his wife tonight. I do not want to cross her. So I'm getting Jason out of here.
Yeah, She
I don't know if Jason was watching the time, but I was watching it for him.
she does online therapy, and she has like 2 or 3 sessions tonight. She's one of those brain doctors that can really confuse you. So it's horrible.
All right, last comment going up for the night, guys. Bowl game, Iowa versus Colorado. Right now, it's projected to be Oregon and Iowa in the Las Vegas Bowl.
No, it's Colorado, Iowa in the Las Vegas Bowl. I thought.
Oh, okay. I misread that. I thought, why did I have Oregon?
I don't know. Oregon's going to be in a much bigger bowl than that one. But if I was in the Las Vegas Bowl, that's going to suck anyway. That means we did not hit our goals.
No, it means we probably had an 8 or 9 win season.
Yeah, I don't want that either. So
no, I don't either. However,
I don't even think Colorado's going to be there unless they get healthy.
However, I will buy tickets for my son-in-laws and make them drive me to Vegas so I could watch the game if they go there.
That's silly, South Bend. Colorado by 35. They wouldn't even score 35.
And all right, guys, we got to get out of here. I'm going to end it right now.
Yeah, she's yelling at me. Bye. We'll
try to get together on Sunday night, and I'll be in Iowa when we do it. So we'll talk to you guys from Sunday night. Take care, guys.